Nslookup is a widely used system and network administration terminal-based tool available on Linux and Windows system. This tool is often used to query DNS servers as a way to grab the IP address behind a host. Let's run a simple domain IP lookup. From the result on the terminal, we can see how the domain Microsoft.com resolved to several IP addresses. Basically, the essence of this is just to ensure redundancy so that when one server is down, then another server can pick up and answer a client requesting for a resource from the domain Microsoft.com. When something about DNS resolution doesn't make sense, we can confirm the actual name servers that provide name resolution for the hostname or domain name. For this, we need to make Nslookup query specifically the NS record for a given hostname. Let's query the name servers for the domain faisalgamma.com. From the result in the terminal, we can see the name servers that provide the name service for the domain faisalgamma.com. We have two name servers, nsa.hugohost.com and nsb.hugohost.com. Another really cool thing is that Nslookup can get you MX records they are pointing to. That is a mail SMTP servers accepting the emails on behalf of the domain. Let's query the mail server for the domain abu.edu.ng. From the terminal, we can see the domain of the mail server utilized by abu.edu.ng is mail.abu.edu.ng. From the previous examples, you will have noticed that Nslookup always reports the local DNS server 192.168.43.210 that it uses for making DNS queries. There are times that we want to verify whether the domain name has been resolved correctly. In that case, we will want to make use of another DNS server. So in this case, we will perform the Nslookup by explicitly stating the DNS server we wish to resolve the domain name to IP address with. So for the faisalgamma.com domain, I'll just write Nslookup. And then explicitly state the DNS server that I wish to resolve the domain name to IP address with. In the above example, I used the Google's public DNS service to resolve the domain name faisalgamma.com. If you send a DNS request to a DNS server you don't have access to, your request may be rejected because by default, NS servers only resolve their own domains, not all domains for the rest of the internet. In the output of Nslookup, you often notice a statement no authoritative answer as part of the lookup result. This is to tell you that the result was provided by a server that is not authoritative, that is, it is not the primary source. Typically, this means that the result was provided by a server such as a internet service provider that held a cache copy of the DNS record. This is important because the DNS record may have been changed recently and the cache copy may not reflect the most up-to-date information. For example, let me perform Nslookup for my domain name. We can see that the answer is non-authoritative. An authoritative answer is when the DNS server hosting the primary copy of the DNS record responds to your lookup. The reason why the primary authoritative server isn't involved in responding to all Nslookup queries is to reduce server load. By maintaining a cache copy of DNS record on a secondary server, which is updated from the primary server at a defined interval, query response time is minimized and the primary server isn't bothered with a lot of queries. To get an authoritative answer, you will need to specify explicitly the authoritative name server as part of your request. To do this, we include the dash type equals to SOA switch. SOA means start of authority, and Nslookup will respond back with the name of the authoritative name server. So we just go to the terminal and type Nslookup dash type equals to SOA, startup authority. Then we followed by the domain name. We can see that the primary name server for faisalgamma.com domain is nsa.hugohouse.com. Now we can start making Nslookup queries and specify this name server to get authoritative responses. So for example, to get authoritative name response for the domain faisalgamma.com, we just issue the command nslookup followed by the domain name and then the authoritative name server that we wish to resolve the domain to IP address with.